In step 3, we'll begin in ArcGIS Pro by setting up our project geodatabase. First, we'll set the map coordinate system for our map view to NAD 1983 State Plane Utah South projected coordinate system, which can be uniquely identified by WKID 3567. And then we'll locate our Washington Vista subdivision on Osprey Drive in the city of Washington, Utah. In step 2, we'll create a new Washington_Vista feature data set in the same coordinate system, WKID 3567, in our project file geodatabase. And then we'll create, add, and symbolize 3 different line feature classes. The first is heads up, the second is dimensions, and the third is COGO. And we'll use those to digitize our data in 3 different ways. And then at the very end of this demonstration, we'll compare the results. In Windows, I'm going to switch back to our ArcGIS Pro window and go ahead and maximize ArcGIS Pro. And we'll begin by setting the coordinate system for the map view. So in the contents pane, I'm going to right click on the map view and select properties. In the properties window, I'm going to switch to the coordinate systems section, and I'm going to switch the coordinate system from WGS 1984 Web Mercator to our local coordinate system, which can be uniquely identified by WKID 3567, and click enter. And that finds and selects our coordinate system, which is a projected coordinate system in state plane, North American datum 1983, in the South Zone, US feet. There you can see it set our coordinate system correctly, so go ahead and click OK. And we can tell this is the correct coordinate system because we zoom in on the United States, and on Utah, we can see that Utah is north aligned and is shaped correctly. All right, so activate the map ribbon. Now we need to find the location of our subdivision. So under the inquiry group, I'm going to click on the locate dropdown and select search. And in the locate pane, in the search text box, I'm going to type in this street name, Osprey Drive, comma, Washington, comma, space UT for Utah. And there you can see the location of our subdivision. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And that repositions the map on our subdivision located on Washington Parkway and Tortoise Circle with Osprey Drive in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and reposition my map view so it frames Phase 5B of Washington Vista. And there you can see the point of beginning all the way around our Phase 5B. So in Catalog, in our Databases section in our File Geodatabase, I'm going to right-click on our File Geodatabase and go to New and select Feature Dataset. This opens up the geoprocessing tool for creating a feature dataset. The output geodatabase is already set, and my feature dataset name is going to be Washington_Vista. And I'm going to set my coordinate system by just clicking on the drop-down and selecting the current map coordinate system, which we just set to State Plane, Utah South. Check your parameters and go ahead and click Run. And if we close the Create Feature Dataset pane, over in the Catalog pane, we can see that we've created an empty Washington Vista feature dataset. Now we want to create our 3-line feature classes in this feature dataset. So I'll right-click on the Washington Vista feature dataset and select New and Feature Class. This opens up the Create Feature Class wizard. I'm going to name my new feature class Heads_Up. I need to set the feature class type, switch it from polygon geometry to line geometry. I'm going to disable all other geometric properties. So uncheck M and Z values and check Add Output Dataset to Current Map and click Next. I'm not going to add any fields to it, so I'm going to click Next again. Notice that it's using the correct State Plane Utah South coordinate system. That's because this page is read-only because our feature dataset is enforcing the coordinate system. Go ahead and click Next. The tolerance is the snapping distance between any two vertices, and I'll go ahead and just leave it set to the default. The resolution is the snapping distance to the underlying grid that supports the feature class geometry. Go ahead and click Next, and also leave the storage configuration set for default and click Finish. This creates our heads-up line feature class. You can see it listed in the catalog pane, and you can also see it listed in the contents pane as a feature layer. Now I'm going to create a second feature class by reopening the Create Feature Class pane. This time I'm going to call it Dimensions. Again, set the feature class type to line, disable all other geometric properties, check Add Output Dataset, and this time I'm just going to click Finish because I accepted all the default parameters last time in the wizard. And that creates my line dimensions feature class and dimensions feature layer. And then we'll do it one more time. This time we're going to create our COGO, C-O-G-O, line feature class. Uncheck the other geometric properties, leave Add Output checked, and click Finish. All right, so that's created our 3 line feature classes and also added them as feature layers to our contents pane. I want to update the symbology, so I'm going to click on the COGO symbol patch. And in the symbology pane, in the properties panel, set the line width to 2 and set the color to blue. Now click on the dimensions symbol patch, set the line width to 2 and the color to orange. And then for the heads up symbol patch, go ahead and click on that, set the line width to 2 and the color to purple. All right, I'm going to close the symbology pane, reset my interface, and save my ArcGIS Pro project. Now we're ready to open an edit session. In step 4, we'll use heads-up digitizing to capture our boundary. First, you'll confirm that heads-up feature layer is the only visible, selectable, editable, and snappable layer. Then we'll enable vertex snapping, open the Create Features pane, and locate the point of beginning on our base map. Last, starting at the POB, you'll heads-up digitize clockwise around the boundary survey and save your edits. Back in ArcGIS Pro, in my map view, there I can see my Phase 5B boundary survey that I'm going to be capturing in my geodatabase, starting from the POB or the point of beginning. I'm going to capture it in my geodatabase using the COGO dimensions and the heads-up feature layers. But we're going to start with the heads-up, so I'm going to turn the visibility off for COGO and dimensions in the List by Drawing Order panel, and then in the Contents pane, switch to the List by Selection. And again, make sure that only heads-up is checked or enabled, and switch to the List by Editing. This time I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to right-click on heads-up, and in the context-sensitive menu, select Make this the only editable layer. And then I'm going to reset my Contents pane back to List by Drawing Order. Now I need to activate the Edit ribbon, so I'm going to click on the Edit tab. And then in the Snapping group, under Snapping, I want to make sure that Snapping is on and that Vertex Snapping is enabled. Go ahead and click out of the Snapping window. And then in the Features group, I'm going to click on the Create button, which is going to open up the Create Features pane. And in the Create Features pane, I'm going to click on the Heads Up Feature Template, which opens up my default construction tool on my toolbar, which is a line. And we're going to use these tools to heads up digitize the boundary survey. And we'll start by clicking on the point of beginning and then adding our first arc, which extends all the way to the beginning of the curve. Now we need to switch the construction tool to a curve, and it's a tangent curve. So I'm going to select tangent curved segment. And then I'm going to shape the curve to fit the boundary survey and then click on the map. Now I need to switch back to the line construction tool. And I'm going to use that to capture the rest of my boundary survey, including this first little curve right here. It's so shallow and so small, I couldn't really recreate it in heads-up digitizing, so I'm just going to digitize that as one long line and then finish my survey by double-clicking on my start at the point of beginning. And then now I want to commit my sketch to a draft feature, so I'm going to click on Finish. There you can see my selected draft feature drawn in cyan, and if I want to return to the purple, I just need to clear my selection, and there you can see my purple heads-up feature. Now, on the edit ribbon, the save button is enabled. It means I need to save my edits, and when I click Save and then Save Edits, that commits my draft feature to my heads-up feature class. I also need to save my ArcGIS Pro project, so I'm going to click on the Quick Access toolbar on Save Project.